Hey, what's going on, guys? It's me, Aiden, from Cartoon Apocalypse, and welcome to an episode analysis of Can't Belong. Now, this video is going to be formatted a little bit differently from my other analyses because I have written down some bullet points of what I want to talk about in this episode, and I'm not just going to be scrolling through the episode and talking about it willy-nilly. So, if you like this new format, let me know down in the comments because it's still going to be me just talking, but I've written down some bullet points, so it should be a little more structured, so a lot of the general, like, this is what happens in the episode, isn't really going to be talked about, so just let me know how you feel about this. Also, we're trying to hit 200,000 subscribers before the 15th or on the 15th, because the 15th is the channel's 2-year anniversary, so we just wanted to match up 2 years with 200,000 subscribers, so if you want to help join the movement, you can go ahead and join it, and I've got a video planned for that day as well, so it's all going to be cool. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about this episode because it really was good. It wasn't exactly what I was expecting. It was definitely formatted differently because we saw right after Ladybug delivered the letter, Blanc came and swooped her up, which is not exactly what I was expecting. I was expecting to see some extra stuff, and then we were going to see the whole like reveal and Ladybug and Noir going into Moth, and then we would see the whole like water realm after that. But it actually, the way that they formatted it was actually better than I was expecting because there were a bunch of loopholes and stuff. So the way that they did it was really perfect. Now, I think a lot of people share my opinion on this, but this episode could have been better. And the reason for that is if we weren't spoiled so much. We got so many promos and images and stuff that it really seemed overused, and we were expecting a lot of what we saw. Whereas if it was like Ladybug, where we didn't see anything at all or saw very minimal stuff, then we would be surprised and we would be like mind blown from this episode. So I think the channels on this episode really went a little overboard with Gloob just releasing a bunch of stuff for it. So I definitely think that we kind of got spoiled a little bit too much on this episode, so we just gotta find a healthy balance. But I mean, when you're part of a fandom, when stuff comes out, you gotta see it, you gotta talk about it, so there's not much that we can do. The only thing that we can do to fix this problem is have the channels themselves not release it, because there's no way that us as fans aren't gonna see what they release. So yeah. And also another thing, I watched this episode twice, once just for the first time of me watching it, and then second right before I started recording this video because I wanted to remember everything and have my mind be fresh on it. And while watching it the second time, I enjoyed the episode a lot more. Now, I knew exactly what was going on, but I noticed some other things and just things started clicking, and I realized how much of a good episode this was. So I definitely recommend that you watch this episode twice. Even if you only watch it once in the French dub and then wait a couple days for the English dub, that's perfectly fine, but just make sure that you definitely watch it twice because I got a lot more enjoyment because I actually started seeing stuff, and I don't know, I just enjoyed it a lot more on the second time. So if you are a follower of this channel, then you know I released a theory talking about how it just makes sense that there would be a reveal in this episode, and there was. And it was a double-sided reveal in part of the timeline before Bunny X took Ladybug out. So the main Ladybug that is fighting Can't Belong in the water realm, that's what I call it now, doesn't know who Noir is. However, the Ladybug that gets obliterated from Noir's Super Omega Cataclysm does know who Noir is. So at the very end of the episode, when we see some Lady Noir bonding here, it really makes it seem like Ladybug knows who Noir is, but I guarantee you she doesn't. It just kind of seemed like it, but she doesn't know, okay? It's fine. But it was awesome that we got to see some of those previews as to what like an Adrianette like reality would look like, and just the whole reveal thing with Ladybug and Noir knowing both who each other were. And the thing is, Ladybug that we follow throughout the show, who's fighting Can't Belong, knows that Can't Belong figured out who she was. And that's not necessarily a good thing in the context of this episode, because the world has basically ended and Can't Belong is the only one left, and Ladybug is pretty much the last resort. And she sees that Noir knows who she is, and then she sees, well, he's akumatized, this is where we're at. This isn't a good thing. So that puts the impression in her mind that having a reveal isn't necessarily a good thing, because she doesn't know the full context of what happened, so she's just going to associate the reveal with the end of the world. And some of you guys might be thinking that same thing. However, the reveal is not what caused problems. It wasn't the reveal between Ladybug and Cat Noir. Adrien knew who Ladybug was and he kept it a secret, and that was all fine for however long that intermission where Adrianette was a thing. That may have been like a month, or I don't know, maybe even a year, we don't know. But the real problem started to arise when Hawkmoth figured out who Adrien was. Hawkmoth was able to use this knowledge to get into Adrian's head and then kind of just manipulate him to get him to become akumatized. And in this episode, we see truly how messed up Gabriel is. He's willing to give up Adrian's happiness because his company wasn't doing as well, and also partially because he wanted to have Marinette become akumatized because it would be this ultimate masterpiece. So he was willing to sacrifice Adrian's happiness. He probably knew that Adrien loved Marinette at this point, and he was willing to sacrifice that entire thing just for the sake of getting Emily back. He didn't take into account how Adrien would feel. He just did this because he thought that that's what Adrien would want, even though us as viewers of the show know that that's not what Adrien would want. The way that Cat Noir reacted as soon as he figured out that Hawkmoth was trying to save Emily, he reacted in a poor way, which means that he's going to react that way pretty much no matter what, unless if there's a big dramatic change. So he's honestly against Hawkmoth at this point, and he just doesn't agree with what he's doing. Adrien would rather let Emily be in the past than change the future and just have a bunch of things get messed up, so that's important to know. And going back to the point that Gabriel is just messed up now, he was willing to put Adrien in danger. He sent out an Akuma to Marinette, and I don't know if he knew. I mean, Natalie was there and she saw Adrien run out, and just everything's wrong with Gabriel in this episode, and it really proves, it just makes me dislike Gabriel even more because of what he's doing at this point. He's just not caring for Adrien at all. He's only doing this for himself at this point, and that's just cruel. He says he's doing it for Adrien, but he's not taking into account Adrien's feelings whatsoever. Now, on that point, as soon as he figured out that Adrien was Cat Noir, he wanted to abuse that power. So when he akumatized Cat Blanc, we know that if a person with the Miraculous gets akumatized, they become super powerful, and we saw that with Cat Blanc. His orb, his cataclysm, became the size of like a galaxy. That's how crazy his power was, and Hawkmoth just wanted to abuse that power. So that's why he just went through and was happy when he found out that Adrien was Cat Noir, because he knew he could get to him. But again, that just proves how messed up Gabriel is at this point and the lengths that he will go to get the Miraculous. Now, another thing I wanted to talk about was Bunnyx. We see Bunnyx in this episode and how she's a big key role in this episode, and we also get to see her little world, and I think that that's so cool. It's awesome that we get to see this, and it's really cool to see how her power works. She can essentially just stay in this like floating time of space bubble where she can just, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but she can pick and choose realities, and I don't know, I just thought that that was really cool. And speaking of Bunnyx, she knows who Ladybug is. She might know who Cat Noir is, depending on the context and things like that, but then she also knows who Hawkmoth is. So I don't know if we will ever see the future of Miraculous, where like we're just put into the future of where we see all the adults and all that. That information might be useful to her, it might not be, because in this timeline where she comes from, I'm thinking that Lila is the new Hawkmoth and it's not actually Hawkmoth as we know now, so it probably isn't very useful information, and she probably knew that from before, possibly, I don't know, but that's just probably my idea, so it probably doesn't benefit her too much. But even if it did, I wonder, she probably wouldn't tell anyone just because of her ideals, and she knows how complicated time stuff can be, but it could be interesting if she was the only person who knew who Hawkmoth was in their timeline. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. Also, one more side note, we got to see Ladybug's creepy side. I don't know, not really important, just wanted to point that out because I thought it was funny. But overall, this episode was pretty good. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I would definitely recommend watching it twice because the second time was just a more enjoyable experience for some reason. I don't know why, but yeah. And then also definitely check it out in the English dub because I think it'll also be good. If you enjoyed this different style of analysis, let me know, because I don't know, it's not too much more work. I just have to write down a bullet point list versus just going through the episode. So I don't know, let me know what you think of this new format, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.
rien.
Okay, here's another little mini segment for those of you guys who are following the channel and like to stay to the very end. Thank you for all of you dedicated subscribers. If you saw this section in the last video, you can click off now because it's basically the same thing. But regardless, I'm launching a website. It's called MiraculousLadybugNews.com. You can go check it out. Link is down in the description. You have to scroll all the way down, or top right card, iCard. So go check that out. I will be releasing it officially on November 15th. I'll be making an announcement about it, but I just want people to go check it out, give me feedback. You can email me, you can DM me on social media platforms. Just there's different ways to contact me, like either through the website officially or through my email with this YouTube channel. There's just a bunch of different ways, but I'd really love to hear your feedback because I'm trying to make this site the best that it can be and just the best resource for all the miraculous news you could ever need. I am planning on doing some other stuff, so just if you have any suggestions, please let me know because I just want this to be the best site for you Miraculous fans because we don't really have a site like this, and I just want to make the best site possible. So yeah, that's it for this announcement, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.